So, Camino Real, based on the Tennessee Williams play, and we're going to be focusing on Block 10, but I thought I'd give you a little bit more of the background as if we didn't do enough the first time around. The whole opera is based, actually, on George Bizet's Carmen. Every scene of Camino Real, every block, as Tennessee Williams puts it, corresponds directly to a Bizet scene. Why did I choose Bizet? Well, Carmen is at least Hispanic in its storyline, if not in its music, being, of course, French. Frenchified Hispanic music, shall we say. And Camino Real takes place in some place that is, third world at least, something Hispanic, something East Asian, something Middle East. So what's going on in this first scene? Don Quixote and Sancho Panza are approaching Camino Real, and you saw, these of course are all images from pre-existent movies altered. You saw actually the King Kong wall from the original King Kong movie, but there's that giant wall in the back of Camino Real. It's a coastal city. And Don Quixote, the historical character from Cervantes, is leading Sancho Panza towards Camino Real. And on the porch of the Siete Mares Hotel, there's Gutman. And he's got his parrot chirping away, and he says, "Hush, Aurora," to the parrot. As Quixote and Sancho Panza approach the border, they are accosted by a guard. The guard, of course, in our production was Carl Coryat, who produced this marvelous soundtrack from our original cast. And Sancho Panza holds back from going across the border. He says, "I know this place. This is a place where wild birds are kept in cages." So while Don Quixote decides to enter Camino Real, despite the rudeness of the guard, Sancho Panza pleads, "Let's go back to La Mancha." Don Quixote keeps singing, "Forward, forward. The time is for retreat," says Sancho Panza. "The time is never for retreat," says Don Quixote. And Sancho Panza screams, "I'm going back to La Mancha," and leaves. Oh, and by the way, that's me. All of us played several characters, and that's my first character. Eventually I will be Kilroy. So here's Don Quixote. He has entered. He sees a group of homeless people huddled against a wall, fire lit, and he observes, "Lonely, lonely," and the crowd responds, "Yes, lonely." He observes rather wryly, "What a crime to be lonely alone." And there's Gutman, the lordly fat man in the white suit. The fat man. "Hush, Aurora," he says again. Quixote joins the crowd of people, the huddled masses by the fire. And he says, "I'll take a rest. My dream will be a passion. Perhaps I'll have new meanings discovered. When I awake, I'll go on and take another Sancho Panza, another assistant as he continues his adventures." So in a sense, the play and the opera are a play or an opera within a play or an opera. And there's Gutman again, who's basically just observing. It is sunrise, morning in Camino Real. Gutman says it's after morning, it's afternoon. He thinks that's a joke and laughs. Here's Prudence coming out of the Siete Mares Hotel, and indeed she is looking for Treek, her dog. And Jacques Casanova storms out of the pawn shop. He's been trying to sell some of his worldly possessions because he's running out of money and can hardly afford to stay at the Siete Mares. Jacques observes it's a terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs, making that observation to Prudence. Prudence is still looking for Treek the dog. And if you recall, in Block 9 we had that, it's a trick. So here's the original part of that pun. Prudence has discovered some dead thing, and Jacques assures her it's just some dead thing, not her dog. Sometimes we sleep in the afternoon, and we sleep so long that things have changed in the meantime. Prudence recognizes him as an Italian, and also makes observations about a friend of Jacques Casanova's. She does not realize that Jacques and Marguerite are lovers, and she relates to Jacques that Marguerite has taken a young lover, or several young lovers. And of course this is more than mildly disturbing to Jacques. You can't do that now, not anymore. You gotta be practical on the Camino Real. This is really all the prologue to Camino Real, rather lengthy, eh? That's the way it goes. And here is actually the beginning of the 16 blocks on the Camino Real. So we'll see it without my narration, and then we'll go on to the music at hand.
The color of this with old meanings, possibly new meanings discovered, new meanings discovered. Dream will be a pageant, mask with old meanings, possibly new meanings discovered, new meanings discovered. When I awake, I'll go on and take another Sancho. What a crime to be lonely alone. Hush, Aurora, hush, Aurora, hush, Aurora, hush, Aurora. It's morning, it's after morning, it's afternoon.
Trick, 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 trick.
On the children for the graceful in the room and summer home. It's morning, it's after morning, it's afternoon. A terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs. A terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs. A terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs. A terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs. A terrible thing for women to outlast their dogs. He's not bad, he's not trick, just everything. Sometimes we sleep too long in the afternoon. We wake up to find things have changed so much in the meantime.
Oh, but you're Italian, aren't you?
I am from Venice, madam.
Oh, Venice, I saw you with my dear friend. Oh, but I am worried for her.
Signora, signora.
Oh, can you give her a message from a certain gentleman? Not anymore. Got to be practical on the Camino Real. Back to that now, not anymore. Got to be practical on the Camino Real.
Block one on the Camino Real.
So here's the block in question. Block 10. This is right after Marguerite has been abandoned by the Fugitivo airplane. And she sings Lost, Lost. Jacques attempts to comfort her. Lean on me, Caro, breathe soft. Not particularly grammatical, but there it is. This is based on the card playing scene in Bizet's Carmen. Sustained chords from the original turn a little more rich in the Alburgian rendition. She acknowledges to Jacques that she would have abandoned him. She would have left him for good. And he sings, I know. And her response is, how can you love me still? This is all in some sort of F tonality, with chords getting increasingly rich and clustery, vacillating amongst Lydian, major, minor, etc., etc. She poetically sings, the violets in the mountains can't break through rocks, and Jacques responds equally metaphorically, they can break through the rocks if you believe. And then, non sequitur, she turns to him and smiles and says, I'm going to leave you tonight. I'm going to betray you. He asks, why would you do that? These are ascending major seventh triads. Do, mi, so, ti, ti. We're basically in C for a while. And I was thinking, in the mood of Joe Garland, time betrays us. We betray each other. Abdullah, the sister of Esmeralda, in the background, assisting her. And then she's basically carried off by the wind, and you can hear the tone painting of those swirling 16th triplet notes. And then Gutman, as always,